Hey, check it out. We're in the right place.
Wait, what is Noah's obsession?
Murders, Brandon James, the morgue. I don't know. Noah is an obsessive nerd by nature.
Maybe it's this. Maybe it's on the murder board.
We're supposed to find where he went wrong there. How do we do that? There's too much here. It's impossible.
Maybe his obsession blinded him to the truth, and that is where he went wrong.
I'm so sick of these cryptic clues. Maybe it's in his podcast? Dear Piper, Emma abandoned me. His new vapid friends. She got pretty. Such a princess bitch. That's why we need to bring her down. Best, Audrey. Damn it, I'm not seeing anything. What'd you find?
Nothing.
What's behind Noah's obsession? I don't know, insomnia and too much caffeine?
Are we really gonna find Noah this way? I mean, we are clearly missing something. Maybe it's a riddle. What is Noah's obsession? The murder board, the board. What's behind the... Oh my God, it's literal. What is behind the board?
Well, this really is about us.
What do you mean, it's a daffodil?
Yeah. Don't you remember? I think I know where to go.
I hope you feel like Michelle Obama.
Oh, I do. It's really good.
Thank you so much for being here to talk about Scream and all the other stuff you have going on.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your shoes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You could like take someone down in those.
It's like a built-in weapon on the back there.
Those are amazing. Who made them?
Oh, Marc Jacobs.
Oh. Hello, Marc Jacobs. Send us a pair, please.
Check.
But so the Scream finale is tomorrow.
It is.
So what happens?
Oh, if only I could tell you, but that would ruin it. Well, I think the last episode definitely set us up for a pretty intense finale. And I think that everyone's going to be truly shocked by the killer or killers reveal.
Now, the fans have been very rabid about the show.
Yeah.
When did you become aware of the fan following?
Oh, before we even started shooting the pilot.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty impressive, actually. There were already people who had found us on Instagram and Twitter and social media who were like commenting about the show and how they, you know, their hopes and fears and desires for the characters that we were playing. And I mean, our fan base is pretty incredible.
And you guys are wrapping up season 2, and hopefully you'll find out about season 3.
Yes, hopefully in the very near future. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. How did you go about adapting such a beloved movie series for the small screen?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really exciting adventure, I think, for all of us, for the actors, for the writers, because there are a lot of things that you can do on TV that you can't do in a movie. And I think that TV in particular is so character-driven. And you tune in every week not only to see what happens next and who gets killed off and what the crazy, you know, horror stunts are, but also to see what's happening to the characters. And hopefully it's the characters and their relationships and their, you know, hopes and fears for the future that are what keeps you tuning in every week. So that we get to play so much more with our characters' like inner lives on a TV show than in a movie where your time is just so much more.
Where you have 90 minutes to tell a story for the
We've
most
got,
part.
you know, not quite 10 hours, but probably almost.
And you're the lead, so how did that come about for you?
I think actually the show this season is a really pretty much an ensemble show in a lot of ways. I think that Emma is maybe more like Sydney Prescott than the other characters, but I think, I mean, it's just such a different show than the movie in terms of there being like a single lead. all of, as we say, and I don't remember what episode, we're all final girls in Lakewood. And I think that that is true. There's a real sense of camaraderie and everyone trying to survive Lakewood's unfortunate past and present.
And how did you get the role?
I auditioned. Yeah, I had graduated from college and moved to New York and started working in TV very quickly, which was exciting. And I was in the middle of shooting a season of Royal Pains, and I got the script, and I read the script, and I thought it was just so funny and so scary, and I thought the characters were really interesting and dynamic, and I loved, the movie. And I auditioned for it, and I forgot about it, as that happens. I think I self-taped in my apartment at 8 a.m. And then I got a call a week or two later that I had a screen test in LA, and I flew out there and I booked it.
And that was that.
And that was that. And then, we shot the pilot, then a year went by, then we shot season 1, then we shot season 2.
Now, a show like this really hinges on kind of this air of menace and uncertainty and fear. How do you keep that alive week after week on a TV set?
I mean, I think that's the real challenge with a hard TV show. And I think that Scream set itself up really well, actually, with a lot of the intrigue coming from this town's history. And there's a lot of, teasing about this Brandon James mythology and the murders that happened, when my mother was in high school. And I think that kind of sense of an undercurrent of evil or something bad happening in the town kind of helps create the overall sensation of unease, which you need. But also personally, week to week on set, I mean, being scared is really fun. We have a great time on set. All we do is run around and scream, and it's highly athletic and very exciting for us.
And I imagine, like you said, it's always the movies or the shows that are toughest to watch that are the most fun to shoot.
Oh, yeah. And I think that horror in particular is that because, you'll see death scenes or just gore scenes, and I mean, I don't like watching that kind of stuff, but as an actor, it's pretty fun to be covered in, tons of fake blood until the flies come after you. And then
is that really what happens?
Oh, yes, because that blood is made from sugar. Oh. And we shoot in Louisiana, so it's like a mosquito fly buffet. It's really good.
How do you deal? Do you just think of happy places? You go to another place.
You go to your happy place. You take a lot of shit from the crew. It's everyone's in it together. So even if you're not covered in fake blood, you're probably being eaten by mosquitoes. So
what's been the toughest scene for you to shoot?
Oh, well, actually, I mean, the finale showdown that we have coming up was really hard, really rewarding, and I just think it's I think it's the best scene of the season, and I'm so excited for everyone to see it.
Were you a big horror movie aficionado before you signed on?
Yes, actually. I in high school, I was just obsessed with horror movies. I would watch them at night alone in my bedroom, and just loved being terrified. And so yeah, I mean, I would rent them from the library.
Those were the days.
Right? I know. Now I don't even have a DVD player.
And has it ruined horror movies for you now that you know how they're made?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I mean, I think you watch any movie and you become immersed in the characters and the story and what's going on, and it doesn't matter if you know how it's done, because hopefully if it's a really good movie, you're not thinking about, oh, that actor's doing that there, that lighting must have been really hard to get. You kind of can forget about it as a job and just really enjoy yourself.
What was the first movie you saw that truly scared the hell out of you?
Oh my God. My poor father thought it was a good idea to show me Stephen King's It when I think I was about 10 years old. And I swear I did not go into my bathroom alone at night for I don't know, 2 years maybe. It was that movie scared me so bad.
I remember seeing Psycho as a kid.
Yeah.
And The Shower. Oh my
No,
God, right? Like, I was
exactly.
like, I can't.
I mean, the clown comes out of the drain. Like, you will never be able to go into a bathroom again. Like,
not to mention the circus.
getting like heart palpitations just thinking about it. I hate that.
Who's a horror director that you admire working today?
Oh. I mean, there's so many. I just actually watched It Follows, which is, remind me of the director's name?
I actually don't remember, but I know that it's really good.
It's really good. And I actually just read a script that he wrote that's totally different and not horror at all. But I really admire him because I think that script was fascinating because I read the script. And having gotten to finally watch the movie, I thought it was really maybe one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time.
Has being on Scream opened things up for you more?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, of course, yeah. I was pretty new to all of this when I got cast in Scream. I guess I had been working for less than a year. And
it's pretty amazing that after 1 year out of college, you booked the lead of a TV show. That's pretty.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was definitely like amazing and terrifying and exhilarating and like such an honor. And I think that it's also been an amazing thing to get to share with the cast and the crew of the show, because a lot of us were relative newcomers at the beginning of the show, and we've all kind of done a lot of things since then. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely I've gotten to do. I did 3 movies on my hiatus from between season 1 and season 2. I've got something coming up that I can't talk about yet, but will be announced shortly. And so yeah, I mean, it's just you get more scripts, you get better scripts. It's good.
You can become choosier and
yeah,
choosier
exactly.
And choosier, yeah,
exactly. You can start really picking what projects speak to you as opposed to just trying to do as much as you can possibly do. Although I'm also very guilty of being a workaholic and would rather be working than not working at all times.
Do you have that fear that most actors have that if you wrap something today, you'll never work again?
I think you usually have, well, I think I have about 2 weeks where it's like I better take a vacation during those 2 weeks because then I'll be freaking out after 2 weeks.
Like, please, someone hire
Yeah,
me.
like I'll do anything.
And by the way, when you say you finished college, you went to Yale School of Drama, which is...
I went to undergrad. Yale School of Drama is a graduate school,
Okay.
so I just went to Yale University.
Just Yale.
Just Yale.
Just Yale, whatever.
Just Yale.
Whatevs.
Not that cool.
Well, how did that experience inform what you do today?
I mean, in kind of some like weird ways, actually, because I didn't start out at Yale as a theater studies major, actually, and the theater studies major isn't an acting degree. It's more of like a liberal arts kind of like history and literature and theory kind of thing. And so I was, and still am, deeply interested and involved in experimental theater and contemporary plays and new playwrights. And so I think like starting my career in TV has been like a huge learning curve, actually. And I was so lucky to get to start working professionally really as soon as I came to New York. But that also means that kind of like, for me at least, it feels like my whole like education as like a television actor is like viewable. Like you can watch the first thing I ever did on television, and it's kind of crazy to like learn in the field, having not ever done it before.
How did you find, I guess, the confidence to just come to New York and do it?
I think I just did it. I don't think at any point I was like confident. I think I actually, maybe what saved me was the fact that I was convinced that I was going to always have to have 2 or 3 jobs. And actually, my boyfriend and my roommate at the time had an intervention because I was shooting a show and also about to start shooting another show and was also still working at a restaurant. And they were like, you've got to quit your restaurant job. Like, you can't keep working at the restaurant. You've canceled every shift, and also you're miserable. So I think, like, it took a second for me to realize that I was, like, doing this and I could do it, because I think I was just, I was kind of convinced that I was going to have to, be waiting tables for a lot longer than I did.
I assume you don't wait tables anymore.
I don't, but like sometimes I want to. Is that weird? I don't know. I kind of like that job.
Is it like because you get to pretend to be someone else, or you can be anyone you want?
I like cleaning.
You want to come to my house and clean?
Yeah, totally.
Please.
I've
I
like probably
swear
opened
over
my house
everything.
tonight. Just really into cleaning.
But I guess when you were waiting tables, you must have always had that fear in the back of your head that you need to have like a job, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, I actually, more than waiting tables, and I actually did this for a long time, I tutored a lot of kids, which I actually found quite like exciting and rewarding. And I kept doing that really until I went to go shoot Scream. And I actually think it's like really important as an actor to have other things that you do that aren't just being on set, being an actor, because that's a really weird job. And like you can quickly forget what it is to be like a human being in the world when you're like, you know, being shuttled from set to set and like, you know, just living that life. And so I actually found it really helpful to like be grounded in reality and just, you know, and involved in other people's lives.
And talk to me about the movies you did on hiatus.
Yeah, so I did this really cool little indie in the Hamptons last September called Beach House. And I actually just watched a rough cut of that, and I think it's going to be going on the festival circuit sometime soon. I did a like mini series called Relationship Status, which was viewable online. And that was a really cool project and was basically like a series of vignettes about modern relationships and how to, I mean, it had a huge cast. It was like Love Actually times 10. There were like, you know, 40 actors and like, I don't know, 14 different stories going on at the same time. And then I did Freak Show, which was adapted from a book and made into a movie directed by Trudy Styler. And that was a really cool project where, I mean, I got to work with incredible actors.
Laverne Cox,
Abby Breslin, Alex Lothar, such a doll. And it's also, I mean, an amazing story about basically a young boy in high school who really wants to do drag in his everyday life. And he, in spite of, you know, horrific bullying, and in this kind of like cool magical realism kind of way, like, you know, overcomes the obstacles of being a student in a southern small town.
Did you have any scenes with Bette Midler?
I didn't actually. I know, which was a bummer because I actually have met her before because her daughter went to Yale School of Drama and I did a play with her.
So what is she like?
She's very cool. She's a great cook.
I follow her on Twitter.
Yeah, and she also
like
has great
amazing.
political views.
I know. Right? That's what I was asking. I was like, is she as cool in person as she is on Twitter?
Definitely.
Is that like the world we live in now, where I'm like, is she as cool in person as she is on Twitter?
I know. I think I actually have a lot of anxiety about social media because like I don't really feel like I'm a very cool person on Twitter. Maybe because I never tweet. I don't know if any of you follow me on Twitter, but like it's usually like a direct link to my Instagram or something. Like that's me trying to tweet. Yeah, I think social media is really revolutionizing people's like interactions with celebrities and how they view celebrities.
Do you view the comments on Instagram or no?
I usually will like see a couple that are at the end because, you know, like it always shows you like the last couple of comments, and usually they're nice.
How do you choose what to share?
I think, yeah, that was actually because like that quickly became a thing really as soon as we started shooting Scream because our fan base is like so excited about the show and found us all very quickly. Because my Instagram had always been highly personal, and now it's, I think, actually kind of like a weird mix of like still pretty personal and then also work-related. Because I just didn't want to like make my Instagram totally, you know, like my press kit, which I think sometimes is what happens to celebrities' Instagrams.
And that completely, I think, loses its flavor because people want to feel like they see a side of you that they would ordinarily see.
Like, I'll happily share my vacation photos on Instagram. Sure.
Well, how are you spending the summer?
I actually just got back from the UK. I was over in England cycling around.
Really?
Yes.
On the
So I've got this really good bruise right there. Fell off my bike.
Where did you cycle?
I was in Devon, and there's a moor called Dartmoor, which is like a really good climb up, nice rolling hills, good climb down. So I mean, it was pretty idyllic.
That's amazing. And then when do you go back to work?
Well, I will start shooting this new project.
Of which you can say nothing.
Which I can say nothing about in September.
And when did you realize that you could actually do this for real?
I don't know if I fully realized it yet. I think that I'm having an amazing time and am also still excited about other potential futures. I mean, I love writing, I love directing. I have other interests that I'm interested in, you know, possibly pursuing in the future. And so I think that like it's definitely something that's like a live in the present kind of thing where I love my job and getting to go to work is amazing.
What would you tell the young Willa?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think, you know, I would actually say don't stop playing piano. I stopped playing piano when I started acting because it was too much to keep up with, and now I really regret that. But I would also say just like really utilize your time in college. Like really embrace those moments because those are so rare. And I think I'm only now realizing that now, how special college is at the time.
Right? At the time, you just want to get through it.
I know,
and
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm realizing that now. But like, really, the last 6 months, I've been like, wow, college, that was good.
That was fun.
Yeah, want to go back.
You can always go back to the grad
I know,
school.
right? I was like, grad school.
Yes.
I don't think it's as fun.
Yeah,
I've heard
well,
it's not as fun.
Probably. And now for our audience, please.
Hi, Willa.
Hi.
I'm over here. I'm so excited you're here because I love Scream.
Oh,
I can't wait
good.
for tomorrow.
Good.
And I'm a huge fan of your work on the show and everyone's just because I know from an acting standpoint, everything's such high stakes. So I was wondering, to put it lightly, if you've ever been in a scene where you're just like really scared or whatever the emotion is so intense that it's like hard for you to get out of it. Because I feel like if I were on that show, I'd probably like accidentally punch the person in the ghost face costume in the face or something.
He could probably take it. He's like a stunt guy,
Oh,
so
okay.
he'd roll with the punches. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I feel like you hear a lot of stories about like method actors and like, you know, them doing crazy things on set. But I think the reality of our job is that we do pretend or create emotions that are in some degree real. And sometimes that does cross over into like when you're not shooting. Like it's not like right when they call cut, it's like, oh, I'm fine. Sometimes it is. Like sometimes, you know, you can go straight from crying into being okay. But like, you know, especially if you are actually upset or emotional or scared, sometimes things are a little bit more blurry. But in terms of being scared, we shoot in a lot of like actually abandoned locations in Louisiana. And there have definitely been times where I've been like, wow, I'm genuinely freaked out by this place that I'm in right now. So yeah, no, I think that's a good question.
Next question, please.
Hey, Willa, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Big fan of the show as well.
Good.
And congratulations on your upcoming projects.
Thank you.
And excited for tomorrow as well.
Good.
So my question for you is, how do you mentally prepare yourself for your scenes? And is there anything that you and the cast do before you start shooting?
Yeah, I mean, we all love to run lines together because our show shoots really quickly, and actually we usually are getting material pretty close to when we're shooting. Sometimes we're even getting scenes the morning of shooting. And so I think, I mean, as a cast, we love getting together and running lines and talking through scenes before we shoot them. And I think that for me, probably the most important thing is knowing, you know, my relationship to the other person in the scene and knowing where I've come from right before the scene. Yeah.
And last question, please, from the front.
Hello, Willa. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
So, well, out of all the scary movies that you've liked, what was your least favorite scary movie?
Least favorite
And
Scream movies.
What would you change? What would you change it to? What would you change it to make it better?
Of the movies. Oh, well, I can't pick a least favorite.
Say your most favorite.
My most favorite. No, I do like all of the movies, and I think that they all are. I mean, I really like Scream 4. I know that like maybe not everyone that would be their favorite, but I think Scream 4 like kind of takes it to a place that's like so insane. It's pretty amazing. But Scream 1, you can't beat Scream 1. That's just like so classic.
And when can we watch the finale?
Tomorrow at 10/9 Central on MTV.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.